Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I had my exit exam today, and I took it, and I needed to get a 70%, which they changed specifically for our term. The term before, they had to get a 60%, and I got a 65.3. It was very close, not quite there. So instead of being done with the term, with the program today, and being able to finally spend time with my family, I have to stay for another week. So I'll be studying for that week and trying to take it again to get that last little percent. Here's the thing though, and I'm confident in this, and I know this. I studied as hard as I could to the best of my ability. If I had to do it again, there's nothing I would have done differently, because I literally did the best I could. So I'm confident in that. Unfortunately, what that actually means is that there are other contributing factors to why. And I realized as I went through which ones I didn't know as well. And shock of shocks, they were the ones from the classes that had the worst teachers. So I'm looking over some of the stuff, a little frustrated about that. We had a class that was supposed to prepare us for this exam. We were supposed to take a number of quizzes to establish where we stood on those areas, and then would tell us which areas we didn't know as well. Well, the person in charge of our program decided to save some money and not hire the people that were supposed to do it and do it herself. And what she did when doing this was made a whole bunch of quizzes that were the exact same thing, meaning those quizzes were useless. So when all of us were studying for this, and I wasn't the only one, unfortunately, who didn't make their grade, the people, when we were all trying to study for this, we had to do it all on our own, all blind. We didn't know the areas we had to study like they were supposed to set us up for. So, as politely as I say it, I think the school is in large part responsible for those of us who did not make it through quite the way they wanted. So, that's unfortunate that that's the case. I have a week to study for it, and I'll be studying hard, and unfortunately, again, not being able to spend time with my family. I'm really bummed. I'm trying to keep it together right now, but I've been pretty depressed all day. Yeah. So I get to go study more. So I need to do. The thing is, we're using ATI. And for those of you who aren't in nursing school, you might wonder what that is. It's a nursing prep program that, in my opinion, is horrible. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. I also know there are people on the other side who adore ATI. I know some instructors who say it's the best thing ever. I also know instructors who say they think it's horrible. It's not. So if somebody does know and they're upset by me saying that, I'm sorry you disagree with me. It's a subjective statement, I'm aware, but that's where I stand on it. And not just because I'm not very good at it. I look through these questions, and they'll ask you a question over something that I know, and I know fairly well, like diabetes. And they ask me a question, and I'm looking at the answers, and all the answers are not reasonable. The real answer isn't there. They're looking for something that's a little more minuscule, a little harder to get. Something that you wouldn't even think of. For instance, they'll give you a drug. They'll ignore all of the major side effects that you'd want and hide a tiny one in there, like a headache or something like that, that are pretty common in a whole bunch of drugs, and you aren't sure which one it is. Not the one that's life-threatening. They just want one of the side effects that people don't normally know. Or they'll give you a med-surg question, but then not have the realistic answer, like what you would normally do in that situation isn't there. They have some other thing that you could do, but wouldn't normally. And so you have to decide between what the other ones here, which one's more correct. More often than not, they have a whole bunch of correct answers, and then they have a more correct, and they'll say that on their rationales, which are also pretty crappy sometimes. Where I look at the question, I'm like, well, why is this the answer? This was my rationale for choosing this answer, but you're saying it's this, and then their rationale are pretty piss poor. So I'm not a fan of ATI, and I have to study for ATI. I have to study for the entire program, so I get to look through all of this to go determine what it is I need to study for. And it's really unfortunate, and I'm really bummed, I'm angry, I'm sad. Oh well. This video's gone longer than I meant. I just get to... it's heartbreaking. I really wanted this to be done so I could finally just spend some time with my daughter. I haven't been able to hold her for very long. I've been ignoring my wife. My anniversary was yesterday. And I spent most of yesterday studying for this test. And if I had known that I wasn't going to pass the test anyway, I would have said, screw the studying. I'll spend time with family. Family's more important than this stupid freaking program anyway. This program's done nothing for me. I'm paying a lot of money for really poor jobs. We have some great instructors, but a lot of really mediocre ones. And then the person who's running it has done a horrible job and is ignoring us and ignoring emails and not answering concerns. Like the program, which I'm not going to name, but if you feel like reading, it's right here on my shirt. In the Midwest, has been horrible, and I would never recommend it to anybody. And so it's just really frustrating to get this far. I know that the time when I hoped I would be done has been extended a little more. It's another week. Another week of hell. Another week of studying. I'm really ready to be done with this. The worst part is they say it's to prepare you for the NCLEX. But the grade they're wanting to get gives you like a 95% pass on the first try of the NCLEX. So if I can break this down into very specific terms, what the school is doing is they monitor how well people are doing by this test. If they think people are going to pass the NCLEX on the first try, they let them graduate. If they don't graduate. Because if they graduate and then don't pass the NCLEX on the first try, that gets logged, and that makes the school look bad. Which it should, because the school's horrible. So in order to make themselves look better, they use this test, which is, according to most people, harder than the NCLEX, to weed out the people that would make them potentially look bad. Which, I don't care who you are. To me, that's very unethical. You should suck it up and deal with it. If you were a horrible program, which ours was, and not everybody who's been through this program has had our experience, but we had a horrible teacher in term 2. We had a horrible teacher in term 4, and then we had this class that was supposed that didn't. So the ball's been dropped on us over and over again. We've been screwed over by this school, and it's not just me saying this. Literally every single person in my program thinks the school has done a horrible job with us. And there have been a couple instructors who have been able to pick up the slack and have been able to help us, and they wouldn't watch this video, but if they were, I want to thank you for the time you put into it, because without you, we would have had no redemption. The school has done nothing for us. All the studying we've done on our own. I'm not going to be able to be one of those people who graduates and is proud of their school. I have no pride in my school. My school's horrible. The school has done nothing for us. We've been ignored. We've been abandoned. So I'm rambling. I don't even know if I'll upload this. If you can't tell, I'm a little frustrated, and I'm not sure how to deal with this healthfully. I should throw myself back into studying. My wife's gone right now. When she gets home, I'll just take a break and hug my family. I'm just not... It's been a rough 10 weeks. And so, adding one more week onto that, if I can survive this, I'll be good. Let me look here. It says, according to this, if I were to take the NCLEX now, I have an 80% chance of passing. To me, that sounds reasonable. And like I said, the term before us, this was a passing grade. So, it's a bitter pill to swallow. I'm going to stop rambling and wasting your time. I'll probably upload it just so I can tell you guys how things are going, but I have some pre-recorded videos, and I'll try to upload them. Maybe I can take a break or something to record a 10-minute video here and there. It's not healthy to study nonstop. I need to take breaks, and I know this. But I'm very disappointed right now. I worked hard enough that I thought that I could get it. Oh, well. Well, with that wonderful, uplifting message, I hope you guys have a good day. If you're in school, if you're... I don't know normal schedules for school. I made the mistake of joining this program. So, if you're in classes and you're studying for finals, keep it up. It'll get better, I'm sure. If you've failed a major test and you feel down in the dumps like I do, know that You'll look back on it in the future and you'll recognize the hardship, but it'll be okay. And I know for me it will be. It's just, in the here and now, it's very, very painful. Well, I'm going to go study. Y'all have a great day. And I, Mr. Blubberbutter, will see you later.